degrees the next couple days.
Yeah, it is.
And so, you know, I think last week we talked about discussing sangria this week anyway.
Yeah. And, you know, not only, when I said discuss sangria, I was just looking for a couple of good recipes. But, of course, Mike, being the researcher, has researched the origins of this drink. It truly, sangria means bloodletting.
It does. And I thought, you know, I'm not a big sangria drinker, but I got kind of interested in it after you wanted to talk about it, you know, Paula. And I thought, you know, with a definition like bloodletting, you know, what does that mean?
I don't know.
You know, I'm going to slit your throat because I want all of it because it's so good, or I'm going to slit your throat because I made such a bad batch of sangria that I'm going to kill you.
Help me out right off the bat. Okay, I'll be stupid. What is sangria?
You know, it's a punch. It's a wine punch is what it is. And it's got some fortified beverage in it. You know, a little brandy is what's customary. But what I found in my research that was really interesting is, you know, culturally, regionally,
many influences.
Restaurant-wise, family-wise, everybody's got their secret sangria recipe.
Well, and I think I used to think, and if you like me, I used to think that sangria was literally just, you took a wine and probably a fruit juice and some sort of a sparkling, like a spritzer type thing, and then you put that all together in a pitcher and you submerged a bunch of fruit in it, and that was basically sangria. I didn't even think about incorporating other liquor. And that's where you see a lot of the regional differences.
Which is surprising,
I know,
really.
surprising coming from me. But, for example, if you order sangria in Mexico, very often it will have rum in it.
Really?
Which I think has to do with, you know, what's available to you, too. But they do use rum in Mexican sangria.
Well, and it's regional. And, you know, the thing that was cool that I loved about my research is in Spain. You know, they've got the Valencia oranges. So they use great orange juice in there and a little bit of brandy for a traditional sangria from Spain. And, you know, that orange juice has got to be just phenomenal. I'm a big orange juice fan.
Now, what kind of wine do you put in it?
Well, that's another thing that really varies.
You know, well, we've got, you know, red sangrias and we've got white sangrias. So, you know, you're going to use a light to medium-bodied red wine in a red sangria punch. And you're going to use stuff that's inexpensive. That's the whole idea of this. This fruit punch sangria is made for social gatherings. You go into Spain or Italy this time of year, and you've got sangria being served in restaurants, and they've all got their own secret little recipe. But they're using inexpensive wines of the region. And if you're going to use create a white sangria, you're going to use like a dry white wine, a Sauvignon Blanc, a Pinot Gris or a Pinot Grigio or a Chardonnay for a great summertime drink.
So it occurs to me really how this was invented. I mean, forget what the encyclopedia type thing says. Here's what happened. People are going to have a party, and they don't want to spring for the good stuff.
Right. They're cheap.
Plus, they don't want Uncle Louie getting hammered before the thing even begins. So they figure we'll go with a little bit cheaper wine. We'll dilute it with some fruit and punch.
Yeah.
Make it a little.
All right, now, Mike, tell me this: does the true wine connoisseur frown on this?
On sangria in general?
Well, you know, you remember what our rule is on the Wine Guy Mike show with Scott and Paula, right?
Yeah.
No rules.
No rules. But
you gotta figure they look at it almost like a wine cooler.
No, come on. Today when it's 95 degrees out.
Oh man.
You know, I'd love to sit and have a glass with a wine snob that turns his nose up at it.
I know.
Let him dehydrate over there in the corner, and we'll all enjoy it together because we're not snobs.
Right. Now we asked people about, you know, sangria recipes. Dee Dee actually jumped on with hers, and she was the first one to respond, and so she wins one of our gift certificates today. Dee Dee's recipe was a little simple syrup, brandy, vodka, and red wine, and then you add chopped up peaches, apples, pears, and oranges. Now let the whole thing sit overnight in the fridge, and then serve over ice. She then added, I might have to make some this weekend, come to think of it, so Dee Dee, I'll be at your house.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, for a red sangria, probably the thing I would suggest, too, is to let the fruit soak in some sugar and really bring out the flavors of the fruit, and then combine it in with the punch and leaving out the wine and the seltzer water until the very last before you serve it, so it's not all diluted.
Or it doesn't go flat.
Exactly.
The other thing I was just thinking is you could soak the fruit in liquor as well. I mean, like brandy-soaked peaches or something like that.
And a lot of people do, Paula, so that's a great suggestion.
See, when I was in college, we used to take needles and we used to inject fruit with Everclear. And then we get a garbage can. Never mind. It's not sangria. It's something completely different.
Bootlegger.
Wow. All right, so now we're going to have
I have a degree.
That's another story.
I have a degree
folks.
in forestry. I have an education in something completely different.
all liquored up. Can you go into local restaurants? Can you go into some of the finer local restaurants, and do they have sangria?
Not that I'm aware of, but
Okay.
I think maybe we should suggest it because I think there's some that would be
Well, and I'm
interested in
wondering
doing
if
that.
any of the, because I know it's Spain has its origins. I always think of sangria. The most sangria I've ever consumed was going to Mexico and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering if any of the Mexican restaurants do serve anything like that. But sangria, the great thing about it, like Mike said, you can whip up a batch of this at home. More than likely, if you have any wine in the house, you probably have something that will pair up nicely with.
Absolutely, and not only are the wines regional to sangria, but all the fruits. So wherever you live in the country or the world, people are using different fruits, and there's really no rules with the fruits.
So what you've got here, Mike, is wine stew.
It's
you know what it
pale
is?
punch, actually.
Here's the deal.
It's
kind of
it's
like
wine stew.
it's the Julia Child beverage.
Yeah.
You taste it while you're making it, make it great, and then you're pretty much too hammered to sit with your guests and enjoy
Tastes
it.
pretty good after like the fifth or sixth
That's really
glass.
about
All
the
right.
deal here,
All
Scott.
right, Mike. This is the best one so far, Mike.
I love this. It's so useful. Listen, it's going to be approaching 100 tomorrow, so do yourself a favor. Could you recommend off the top of your head a nice red that would go well in sangria?
Yeah, Beaujolais.
Okay.
Yep, that's a great one.
All right.
And I also just wanted to mention our wine tasting at the Lolo
Yeah,
Creek
yeah.
Steakhouse with our sponsor, the Lolo Creek Steakhouse up in Lolo.
That's tomorrow night.
From 6 to 9, and we'd love to see you all out there with
Okay.
us.
All right, and if you're looking to make sangria, head down to Grizzly Liquor and talk to Aspen. Probably has some great
Grizzly
ideas.
Liquor are our guys.
All right. Hey, Mike, have a great weekend, all right?
Hey, thanks for having
Thanks
me.
for having
Sangria up.
That was
Sangria.
fun.
Sangria.
That's my
Have a good
favorite
time.
show so far.
Mine
It
too.
is 8:29. Thanks to our sponsor.